Welcome back. Welcome back. We're waiting for Engineer MUTILILI to join us back from the other side. She's connecting. So your questions will be highly appreciated. You can unmute your mic. Engineer Kotieno, maybe you can check on your mic and then you can ask questions where necessary. Engineer MUTILILI is back. So she will continue with the questions from where she had left. Visibility and students membership.
Yes. Start my video.
It's on already. You can.
It's on. Okay.
Yes.
So you are asking about student membership.
Yes.
Actually, I am not sure what the reason for that is. We normally get we have been doing a lot of mentorship to schools. We have actually a chapter or a committee called Young Engineers, headed by Engineer Ohaga. And that young engineers, they have done a lot of mentorship to the universities. I know they've probably gone to, I think, all the universities, I'm not sure. And what happens is that we get the students, when they go, they register. They register like we get 60 or 80 students at a time, and then they go down. I don't know whether it's enough we are not doing. But yeah, we have registered students. They are not enough. We have not registered everybody from the university. Maybe that's something we need to do. Yep, that was the end of those questions.
Yes. Buona Daniel, do you have a question? Okay, what is as we wait for others maybe to ask questions, what is your take about a situation whereby Engineers Board of Kenya goes and publishes the number of universities that have been registered, have been accredited, the courses have been accredited, and then the students go on rampage, riot, and all the other things. What is your take about this, and how would you how would you come in if you're elected? You'd be in the board, and you'd be able to advise where necessary. Is it good for students to be told that you don't go to this university, yet the other universities are full? Like all students cannot go to Nairobi University or JKUAT or Kenyatta University. We have universities that are better equipped. For example, when I was lecturing locally, I was able to lecture, and we could take students from, say, Machakos, Kenyatta University to Kenya Polytechnic, the former Kenya Polytechnic, the Technical University of Kenya. They have good equipment, yet their all programs are not accredited. Yet you have lecturers who are registered, who are doing part-time from, say, Nairobi University, from Kenyatta University. They're teaching there, but yet Kenyatta Technical University courses, most of them are not registered to date. What is your take, and how will you help normalize issues at the board concerning courses accreditation?
You know, as of telling students that they shouldn't go to a certain university, I don't think that is actually what they are told. What you're told is that this university is accredited, this one is not, this one is not, this one is not. You find that the students, I know there's a time they went out of their way to accredit universities, and the people who had done, the students who had done some courses that were not accredited were given remedial classes or lessons or whatever it is so that can be accredited. And I'm talking about Jomo Kenyatta. I know they had their electrical and electronics. I think it was just electronics engineer that time. I don't remember what program that had not been accredited. And the students went back, I think, for a year for them to be now, for the program to be accredited and for those students to actually get the board, whatever. You see what? It's good to get as many engineers as we can, but I don't think that should be done at any cost. When they said that this particular university are accredited, and this are not accredited, what remains for them to be accredited is probably not so much, but they should conform for them to be able to be accredited. As I said, I'm not yet in the IBK board. I don't want to talk on their behalf, but I do know that right now they are actually bending backwards to try and see how those universities can improve what it is that they don't have so that they can get accredited. And during that time, I know what KU did is that it actually got even practicing engineers to actually go and lecture. Practicing engineers who qualify, they actually headhunted for people to go and lecture at the universities for them to meet the minimum threshold for accreditation. And I think unless we do that, we are going to have everybody. Engineering is a very attractive course. We will have as many engineering courses as we have all those other courses. I mean, universities as they have, and I don't think that would be acceptable. So we have to, within confines of sanity and reasonableness, we have to allow EBK to still regulate the profession.
Regulation is well called for, but the thing is, it should be done with some sanity, with some respect to parents, because these students apply and they're being placed in universities by the government, the same government where IEK, EBK rather is sitting, is a part of. They should be able to advise students properly rather than blindly not going out clearly. That's what I meant, and that's what concern people are being asking in this forum. Having said that,
Yeah.
is it proper for you that we have engineering professionals being regulated differently? We have uh, Kenya Engineers Registration, Technician and Technologist Registration Board, and then we have Engineers
Yep.
Board of Kenya. Technicians are being registered under the Ministry of Education. Engineers are being under the former Public Works Ministry. Is it proper for them to be regulated separately like that?
I think we just need to understand where all that came from. When the EBK 2011 it's called what Act came out, unfortunately and very unfortunately, it left some people out who are initially there. So when that happens, I mean, you can't leave people in the cold. So what happened is that they actually, when you're talking about the people who actually initially were registering with KETRAB, I think that's the body you're talking about, were actually the ones that were not acceptable by EBK. And I do know that many people from the Masinda Muliros, before it became accredited, and those other universities were actually registering with that. But that is just, I would imagine that is just out of frustration. It is good for us to have as many accreditors and checkers of our profession as we can, but engineers should be accredited and checked and regulated by EBK. We have other professionals that support engineers. For example, we have the technicians. Even IEK, the technicians we register are actually the ones with higher national diploma. We need this other support system that is for engineers. They need to be regulated by somebody. So KETRAB, I would not have a problem with it if it actually keeps to its lane. And what we are talking about is actually regulating the people who are actually not the engineers. And I am sure that even the people who are regulated at that time or who had registered with KETRAB, they've actually now seen the whatever come back to be accepted. When they were accepted by EBK, they all came to EBK despite them having been registered by KETRAB. So KETRAB should continue doing what it is. It should just know who to register. It should supposed to register, and the people should actually know who's supposed to register them. Otherwise, I don't think there's a big deal between them registering the people they register and EBK registering engineers, and they should continue.
Engineer, the thing is, if you look at the Engineers Act 2011, and then take a copy of the KERTTB, the KETTBR, RB rather, you find that it's a copy paste, just the name is changing from professional engineer to professional technologist. My question is this. If you look at South Africa, Canada, United Kingdom, you find that engineers are regulated under one particular body. They have a situation whereby all technicians, for example, I'll give you an example in my field. As an electrical engineer, when I applied to UK, I applied for engineering, yeah, in IET, Institute of Engineering and Technology. So this is one body. Inside it, they also have technicians inside it. And then the regulator is one, Engineering Council of UK. So it brings some sanity whereby there is a way that whereby people can be regulated easily. Of course, there should be other supporting regulators. But in our case, it's chaotic because engineering work cannot be done at the Ministry of Education. this should be directly under the Minister of Former Public Works.
Thanks, Ginandolo. As I said, why that was done is actually, it was an act of desperation, and it was done under some university that were also not accredited at that particular point. And why it was done like that in the Ministry of Education is because, of course, Public Work was not going to accept that. So they just exploited a loophole, and what they were talking about at that particular time is that they were an education kind of registration, so to speak. I don't know whether you know what I mean. That's why it actually went to the under the Ministry of Education. Probably what I would want you to stop saying is that KETRAB regulates engineers, because it does not.
Engineer, there are people who have applied for that.
Even if they have applied for that, actually the regulator of engineers is whatever. If you, I mean, you know, it's this and higher. So if you're an engineer and you want to be regulated by KETRAB, I guess they can whatever you, because you're higher than what they are supposed to be regulating. But that is not supposed to happen. You are supposed to be regulated, and that still doesn't stop you from being registered and regulated by EBK.
Oh, sure.
So as I said, it just, I mean, it was just an unfortunate thing that happened. And one of the issues we actually had was in that bill when it was in Parliament, and I remember we tried not stopping it, actually owning the rights. How do I put it? They actually picked our document and put it in Word and said, what do you say, replace?
Yes, replaced. Copy paste.
It was complete that they didn't even bother to copy paste. They just put it there, said replace. Anything Engineers Board of Kenya replace with Kenya. So that's what happened. So they didn't even come up with anything original, and that's why it looks like a replica of what we have, but it does not regulate engineers.
So in your opinion, is it okay for the regulation to be in different sector in education, or should we?
Education does not.
Should we lobby for a situation whereby we can have them being brought the other side, so that we can have under one roof and have departments, like for example, we can have Engineering Council of Kenya, for example, and under Engineering Council of Kenya, we have Engineers Board and we have the engineers technologists. What is your opinion going forward?
I understand what you're asking, but as we are right now, I wouldn't even want to take up that as part of my to-do for the next 2 years. We have 20,000 engineers. 6,000 are the ones who are registered or are recognized. They've registered themselves with the IEK. What we need is the other 12,000 to come to IEK. So that I know what you're saying, but I am not right now. I wouldn't even promise that can be done in my term if I got the office, because it is a lot of work. And what we need is to get them. You know, I don't know how many technicians are there. We are 20,000 engineers. There are probably 4 or 5 times more technicians are there. So trying to regulate them, trying to bring them on and to regulate them, I think that would be too big. It will not be done at this particular, yes, that I will not lie that it can be done. But I do understand what you mean, and I know where those people came from. I don't begrudge them that. They did that because they were actually not taken up as they should have been.
Sure. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So what the numbers that Engineer Mutalanga shared with us, the statistics of registered members at IEK, why are they so low, and what do you think you're going to do to increase the numbers for them? Because if you look at the IEK, you can see the registration numbers have gone up to maybe 16,000. I've seen the last time I checked, the numbers are almost 17,000.
For EBK?
Yes, at EBK. Graduates.
For EBK, they actually are 20,000.
20,000. So why?
The last whatever I saw, it was 20,000. Yeah.
What measures will you put in place to make IEK more attractive to members, and will it be an IEK that fight for the members, and because that's the main thing, welfare of members? How will you help achieve this?
I think in the dollar, you need to give credit where it's due. The fact that in the first 2 years we've come up with almost 60% increase in numbers from where we were to where we are right now, I think it shows that we are doing a lot, and it can only be done gradually. As I said, I don't believe in making corporate members or GR transitioning from GE to corporate member for the sake of that. Because as I tell them when I'm doing their interviews, you know, once I sign your certificate. Once I make that signature, what I'm saying is that you can actually go and build, if you're in structures, that you can actually go and do a 20-story building. If I am not convinced where I'm sitting because you are talking to me, I don't think you'll get that. So as I said, what we need is a training. Right now, we have actually that training. EBK has come up with a structured training. They started that about last year. I'm not sure how far they've gone because they were supposed to send me some engineers in my office to train. They haven't come, but I'm sure they're still doing that. But at least something has been done, and something is going to continue getting done. It's when you're starting,
engineer,
yeah.
the question is actually not meant for corporate member because that is proper. Somebody has to go
Yeah.
for proper registration. But you see, what I'm talking about is what is more or less automatic. When you have EPK graduate engineers, you automatically get the
Yes,
graduate at IEK. Why are the numbers so
yes.
low? We have 20,000 engineers, graduate engineers that side, and this side we only have 3,000.
If you check our strategic plan, which we are beginning to implement, that is actually one of the key things that that is supposed to be, that strategic plan is supposed to get those numbers. If you check the strategic plan, actually that's one of the things that we had said that we are going to do. And I'm sure whoever comes in the council, that is one of the must things that they must do.
So for somebody who is sitting in the background who might not know what the strategic plan is, what is in the strategic plan that is going to make members come to IEK? Because so far, engineer, just a minute. So far, IEK certificate is just a paper. Like people pay subscription every year. They might not be able to see what's going, what is bringing to them. It's the same thing with graduate engineers at EBK. They just pay levies and subscription every year, but they might not be able to see what it's bringing to them. This is a welfare society. IEK is a welfare for engineers. So what is in the strategic plan that is fighting for the welfare of engineers that will make it more attractive for graduate engineers to come and join IEK before they transit to corporate membership?
Okay. Other than the fact that it's compulsory for them to, once you register with BK, you are actually necessarily supposed to register with IK. I know they are not doing that; they are supposed to do that. But we've also had programs for graduate engineers. As I said, Engineer Eric has actually been driving that. Eric Ohaga has been driving that, and one of the things, I know he was supposed to be having a graduate meeting. As I said, right now, I spoke for just 15 minutes because I want to hear what people want to tell me. That is actually the engagement was also going to have. Let us know what it is that we are not doing that is making you feel like you don't want to join us. What is it what more do you want us to do? So that is something that is under whatever. We've just started implementing our strategic plan. That will be one of the things that will be done. Just to get the numbers, get people interested in joining the rest of the engineering fraternity.
All right. Members in the meeting room, do you have anybody with a question? You can raise your hands. I will see you immediately and allow you to ask question directly to engineer. Engineer Nelson, you have a question? Mushiri?
Yeah, I think my question is that thank you, engineer, for what you've achieved so far at IEK.
Yeah.
But my main concern for the current council members who are there is that these 2 years have just come to an end, almost ending. But I think as the engineering fraternity, I'm one of them. We don't see a lot of effort by IEK to fill that space. I think there's a serious gap when you go to media, when you go to all the functions where engineers have to be there. We are not seen, and that gap is very visible.
That we are not attending. We are talking about visibility.
Yeah, I think what I meant is that we are actually similar to IEK. I mean, we occupy almost the same category with IEK. We are just an associate of just advocating the rights of engineers and not necessarily doing a lot of regulations. I think from your discussion, it's like you've taken up the role of EPK trying to know which university is allowed and which one. Actually, we should be on the other side, arguing with IEK, why not these engineers, why not these colleges are being brought on board. But you see now you've taken that position whereby you are also saying, no, these people should not come in. I think that is where there's a serious, there's an association, as a union, you need to be advocating the rights of the marginalized. I think I've seen in your flyer, it's saying marginalized. And like, for example, when you're addressing the issues which look very minor, I mean, if water, roads, or buildings are being addressed, we need to see that space. You know, like currently, I think AAK have, and even currently the surveyors have also come and taken that space, and we are not seen as advocating for there's any. I think the biggest one is in the under Big Four agenda. The Big Four agenda, we have like housing, or major housing.
Yes.
Maybe a statement would have been raised by IEK and say, okay, we don't mind you coming with how many units, but as IEK, maybe we have some engineers, graduate engineers or consulting companies who want to volunteer and be part of this process as participants from IEK, so that it's like a learning process.
Okay.
That we don't have this yes.
I understand you've asked very many questions in that one question. The first one is that about the colleges. Honestly, we cannot within ourselves, within the IEK, say the council, we do not have the capacity to say that you should accredit this university or you should not have accredited that other university. We don't have, first of all, it's not in our mandate, and number two, we don't have the capacity to do that. EBK has the mandate to do that, has the capacity, and actually can look for the capacity to do that. What we do is actually, for us, we deal with engineers. So by the time you become an engineer, the assumption is that you've actually gotten the right training. And that right training, the mandate for EBK is to make sure that you get that from the correct university. So that one, sorry, I don't think I would sit here and tell you that we can look at the accreditation of the colleges and universities that are, so that we can get engineers from there. You've asked about visibility again, and that architects and all these other people. Let me put it this way. If you check the numbers of, for example, I go back to the conferences and actually just gatherings of engineers, and if you check that and you check the gatherings of architects, I don't know who has more numbers, ours or them, but right now the number of active engineers within IEK, or the people who actually attend and respond to our request to join us and do whatever, we are almost twice what AAK is. So we have to do things in baby steps. Right now we can start taking long strides. But the first thing that we wanted to do even before we start looking for visibility of whatever is to get numbers. You can't lobby when you're 250. As I said, we were having conferences of 150, 200. Right now, when we walked in the streets of Nairobi and we were about 2,000, 1,500 members, whatever it is the president of the IEK wants to say, somebody's bound to listen because we are many. So once we raise our numbers, then all those other advocacy issues we can tackle. And I think that's this council, the only thing, if nothing else, give them credit of visibility within the engineers themselves. I think that we've done well. Thank you.
Visibility within the engineering themselves. The public is still wondering where we are. That's why many are not taking engineering. There's a question from Mushiri here. Saying, what is the root cause, in your perspective, what is the root cause of substandard construction works in Kenya, especially in the buildings subsector? And what should be the IEK role in improving the quality of construction works in Kenya?
The first question is, what is the root cause of that?
Yes.
Yes, I would like, many times engineers are blamed for those
failed projects and everything. Yes.
Yes, many times we are actually blamed for that. A lot of times it was not an engineer who was involved. A lot of times, as I said, the person or the owner of the building says that they engaged an engineer, and when you actually check the background of the person they've engaged, it's somebody who did some building somewhere, and suddenly they've actually become engineers, and that's what they are addressed. So a lot of time, it's not the engineers who are involved in those works. That is probably one of the unfortunate things, and that's what I said, when we start now visibility of the engineer to mashinani, we want somebody to make sure that everybody knows an engineer somewhere, or everybody knows somebody who knows an engineer, so that we can actually get that in the water. We are missing that. But having said that, we also, of course, have rogue engineers. And as we started this conversation about the NCA blacklisting some people, some of those are actually rogue engineers. That you can actually sit in your office and sign for a building or a design that you have absolutely no idea. You're not the one who did, you have not checked the documents, and you can actually sign for it so that it can pass NCA procedures and the construction can start. So I think those are very great causes of that. And what do we need to do about that? As I said, make ourselves available, make ourselves visible for everybody. And I think with that, we'll address a lot of things. Sorry, what was your second question?
The second question was, and what should be the role of IEK in improving quality of construction works?
Yes, probably fortunately we have various bodies that tackle that. For example, NCA is actually supposed to tackle the building, and they are supposed to deal with the contractors. EBK is supposed to tackle the engineer, and AAK and Borax is supposed to tackle the QS and whatever within that build industry. If IEK took the role of supervision of buildings and everything else, we are going to lose our core mandate, and our core mandate is taking care of the engineer. So I would not want to say that when you go to site, we give advisory, we inspect, we do advice and give advisory statements on what went wrong, what should be done so that this is not repeated and all that. But I don't think we'll be in a position to actually take a very active role in say collapsing of building. That is not what we are supposed to be doing. And if we do that, we're actually going to lose the core business of why we are there and why we are even running for the office.
All right, thank you for that. There's a question, somebody wants to be anonymous here, saying that having interacted with you, you seem to be somebody who can be a dictator. What are you assuring members that if elected, you will not act personal and be open-minded and don't be a dictator? I don't know.
That's a very good one. Now how can I answer to that? I do listen, but I think when you're a leader, there are some decisions that you have to make. There are some decisions, if you have decisions coming from, like we are saying now, of course, I know why you're saying I'm a dictator, because there's something that I say I'm not going to tackle, it's not within our mandate, and it's actually practical. I need to be practical on everything. So how am I not going to be a dictator? I have no idea. I don't think I'm a dictator. So that person needs to inbox me. That I need, by the way, such kind of feedback is very good.
Yeah,
I'm sitting here talking to whoever is going to listen to me. Maybe I'm losing all my voice because I'm talking like I'm commanding.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I just said
but this is
I would like that person to inbox.
This
or
is
inbox you,
yes,
and let me know. Yeah.
Sure. But this is part of visibility. That's why I think it's good for engineers to know whom they are electing this time now. So in this case, should we say that you are going to be liberal and authoritative at the same time?
I have to be authoritative, and in all my, I know I've lost many
friends,
things and friends, jobs, and everything else because you said I'm a dictator, but I don't like being dictated to, and I don't compromise. There are many things I don't compromise. So if what we are talking about is not something that augurs well with me as a person, you see what happens when you're the president of an institution, you actually carry the burden of that institution.
Yes.
So sometimes you do something because you want to please people, but at the at the end of that day, it is your responsibility. I would like
Yes.
to do what I do and what I believe in and take full responsibility for that. If
Right.
that is dictatorship, that is probably a bit unfortunate, but yeah, I
So,
have to do what I believe, but I do listen a lot and will do what needs to be done.
Okay, so in short, you are going to be somebody firm within firm on decision, and at the same time being very much at hand with whatever decision that comes in.
Yes, and I'll never blame anybody for my failure. So if I
Thank you.
fail, I
Thank
want to
you.
take full responsibility of that, and therefore I have to take full responsibility of the decisions that I make.
Thank you. Any member with a question? Because engineer had requested only we have 1 hour and we have like some 9 minutes that so that we release her to rest because I think tomorrow we are going to Nakuru.
To rest. I need to. Today I've been working the whole day. I need to do some work before I go to Nakuru tomorrow.
All right. So members, if is there any question? If you have a question, you can unmute your mic and ask. In the absence of no question, I would like to give engineer some minutes so that she can now call out for voters to vote for her come 23rd of March. They come out in numbers and vote for her, and may the best candidate win.
Yes, I would definitely like to request for your votes. There are many things that I know, especially the graduate engineers assume that we don't listen. I would actually like to listen a lot. I would like to do, as I always say, when I sit on this side of the consultancy, we actually don't have enough engineers. We don't have enough experienced engineers to help us run. And when we have a lot of foreign firms with foreign firms and foreign engineers, it's because we probably don't have the numbers. In fact, the whatever they tell us that, the proposals, they tell us not to use the same, one consultant or one registered engineer cannot be used by 2 firms. So we do need a lot of engineers to even be able to run our firms and to be able to say that, yes, now we want our space back. So I am appealing to all of you, when I become the president, or if I become the president, let me let me know what it is that you want us to do for you. And the first thing is training. Please train knowing that the responsibility you take as an engineer is enormous. It's beyond what doctors take, what lawyers take, whatever. You do one mistake, you kill millions of people. So I would like people to seriously think about that and know that whatever it is that you do, whatever responsibility you take, you are being responsible for lives of people. Having said that, I hope I've not been too harsh. I'm still requesting for votes. I would love to be the president of this institution. It's a great institution. We have great people, and it's really amazing to deal with engineers. I've had a very happy moments there, and I hope to continue having more. Yep. Oh, Engineer Ndolo, you're still there.
All right, I'm here.
Yeah, sorry. Before I finish, I just wanted to say something. I know somebody was asking about my interaction in social media.
Yes.
Especially on Telegram.
Yes.
I would lie that I can engage in that. If you close your eyes and open them again, there are 30 messages. So unless it's a specific message that is coming to me, I would not even say that I would be able to interact with that. So I know I've not been visible in that, in Telegram, and I'm not even lying that I'm going to continue being visible. I will try as much as I can, but and especially this time, because I know there are issues that people want to be addressed, and I'll see if I can actually put it in my manifesto of what it is that we can do. If it's possible, we will. If they're not, I'm not going to say that we're going to.
Yes, engineer. I think it will be very advantageous and very important if you come once in a while into the room, the Telegram room, and see what people are saying, because sometimes engineer. The issue of online platform, I have been championing it. I've been pushing Engineer Sharma to follow it up, and I think now it's gonna be out soon. So it's good once in a while you come in and you talk to members, because sometimes they share very important things there that you can see. But I will also request members, if possible, you can tag or direct message Engineer MUTILILI so that she can respond to it specifically if the numbers are high. Otherwise, if in the absence of any burning issue, anything, I would like to end this meeting and thank Engineer MUTILILI for joining us today and for being a very good member, a very good guest who has kept time and has tried to articulate our issues. So we wish Engineer all the best in the forthcoming election. We only pray that we have the best leadership at IEK who can push the agendas and the welfare issues of engineers. Otherwise, thank you all. Have a good evening. Let's meet at 9:30 for Engineer Auma's session. Thank you. Good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you so much.